The following podcast is another podcast we did. It's called episode 2. I love you. I love you.
Greetings and welcome to the new Paragons of Truth, Discerning the Facade. My name is Reed Gimble. I am here joined by my co-host Curtis Hong.
Hello, Reed.
Curtis, it's a pleasure to be back. I know we've taken a slight hiatus, which we can explain a little bit later, but I'd also like to get right into it and bring us back our recurring guest. He's a guest, and he's been on both episodes.
Really just a co-host at this point,
Yeah, I mean, it's up to him, really, if you don't want to commit. But we're here with our good friend.
Well, he's got a contract now,
right.
So
well, Curtis, just let me get through it. God dang it. All right, I'm here with my good friend, Dr. Jens Ljubljana. Say hello, Dr. Jens.
Hello. And before we move along, I'm legally not allowed to refer to myself as a doctor due to certain ongoing legal issues, but that's fine anyway, because I recently renounced all material possessions and titles, and I am now Maharishi.
That's pretty good.
What
Maharishi. What does that mean?
How do you say that?
Mean? I feel weird. I'm still. Is it all right if I still call you Dr. Jens? Because just calling you Jens leaves a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, Doc. I want to call you Doc.
Hopefully this will not be used as evidence against me in a current lawsuit, but if it's all the easier for you, please. Maharishi is an ancient Sanskrit title meaning great seer.
Wow.
A great seer of knowledge, which I consider
That's kind of badass.
That's pretty impressive, actually. Maharishi is a little bit more of a mouthful than Doc is, but you know.
Yeah.
You can call me Seer.
Seer, Jens, Maharishi,
Shaman.
Dr. Maharishi. It's all good to me, as long as, he knows who I'm talking to.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's a pleasure to have you
here,
Maharishi Jens Ljubljana.
It is a pleasure to be here again.
Let's discuss, now that our introductions are underway, let's discuss on the slight hiatus. I know that most of our fans were expecting a weekly podcast about flat Earth and conspiracies and really getting to the nuts and bolts of truth. And we took about a 2...
That's what we've been working on.
Yeah, right. Well, we took about a 2-month hiatus because of a lot of interpersonal quarrels. But I believe most of those have been resolved now, and I will... this might be a shock for many of our fans, but our ideologies... our understanding of the truth has changed a little bit, and I'm not going to toot my own horn. So I'm going to throw it over to Curtis. And Curtis, why don't you explain kind of your changes within the last between now and the last show?
Well, to make it simple, I will say that the old belief that we held was not too far off. It wasn't so outrageous, and we did criticize our current belief in the first episode of the show, but you know what? I don't really want to get into that. Our integrity, whatever. In short, I'm a convert now of believing in the hollow earth.
Right.
My wife divorced me.
I'm sorry to hear that, Curtis.
Well, just let me finish.
All right.
My wife divorced me a couple months ago, and she moved to Austin with her boyfriend.
That happens as well.
Took my kids with her. Her reasoning was, I quote, my obsession with this flat earth bullshit. But I personally think that she really left because they got to her. And I think you know who I'm talking about.
I think, well, there could be a lot of options. So I'm just going to start...
The powers that be.
Right. Well,
put it
I know what that
simply.
means, too. So just stop me when I'm right. All right. Is it the Jewish people?
Well, we don't want to start with that right now.
Is it the CIA? Is it the lizard people?
We won't have to focus on that. Anyway, she lives in Austin now. I believe she's doing well. I still send money to my kids, and everything's fine. But anyway, after she left, I received a sizable inheritance. My uncle Dennis Hong died, and
Rest in
I was
peace
able
to
to quit my
Dennis
job.
Hogg.
He was a very great man, and he secretly held my beliefs, even though he didn't show it to the family. But he believed in me, and that's why he left me his inheritance. And now I have a gated off home, and I have installed around 270 cameras around my home, and which, in fact, I had recently had Reed over to my home, and
Pretty
after he had
nice.
left, I thought he had left. Well, thank you. After I thought he had left, I saw on tape, or on the camera later on when I was going through the videos, I saw when he left, and I put them quotations, he went over to the side of my house to the large garbage cans, and he ate some old pizza I had thrown away.
I got lost.
And well, why'd you take you? Oh, you deliberately went straight for those garbage cans, lifted them
I got
up,
lost.
and
I don't know. It's a big house, and I was just
you
trying to
ate
walk
all the pizza
around,
that-
and I don't know why you
was
threw
like a
away
few days
perfectly
old.
good pizza. I mean, I ain't
All
no
right,
fancy
well-
guy. You know, I like to call his house Fort Hong because that sucker is tight on security. I feel like, you know, I really think, you know, I was really impressed when I walked in and saw all the cameras. I thought the metal detector was a bit much, but, you know,
Yeah, well, you can't be too safe. Anyway, I saw a picture online of a very sexy elf girl, and I was enamored by it. And I contacted the artist on DeviantArt, and I was hoping it would be someone who looked just like this elf girl. But it turns out it was drawn by a 28-year-old dude from San Jose. But I couldn't get that elf out of my mind, and now I personally believe that elves are one of the many powerful races within the Hollow Earth, and my goal now, my sole goal, is to now find my perfect elf wife. So that's why I'm here.
it's pretty good.
So I guess I'll pass along to you or Dr.
I'd
Yins.
like to hear from Dr. Yins and his developments within the last 2 months. Dr. Yins, if I am correct, you are a Hollow Earther as now, correct as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know, as always, dedicated to the pursuit of truth and having spent many hours in these past 2 months writing for project grants and applying for teaching jobs in various universities, I had a crisis of faith one moment when it seemed like the whole earth was against me, the whole disk, as I believed it to be at the point, was against me, spinning every which way except mine.
And tossing
And,
people off and flying, and like cows are flying in the air. It's like Wizard of Oz.
Except now I know that didn't happen because, I decided to go on YouTube.com, as I often do, to relax after a hard night of writing.
Number one
project
source of
grants.
information in our age.
Yes, information, entertainment, anything. And I happened upon these relaxing musical mixes, and I started listening to one of these, and because there's a video site, they had these just beautiful depictions of a hollow earth. It really spoke out to me, and I went, further down the hollow earth tunnel, as it were, and discovered a new belief system, which is a sort of synthesis of Mahayana Buddhism, Hinduism, stuff Alan Watts said, and stuff based on turn of the century science fiction, and I found it to be, I always believed myself to have a keen sense of what is true and what is untrue, and I just knew right there and then that all these pictures of humans sitting cross-legged with chakra auras blasting out of them was how it really is. And 2 months later, here I am, Maharishi, great seer, doing
Wow.
sadhana.
That's pretty good. I will say I've always gone with my gut, and my story of my abrupt change happens with that specifically. I will start by saying that a lot of these developments came from realizations and events that happened within my own home. As you know, Carol and I raise, 4 or 5 kids. Some of them are our sons, and we're raising grandkids and stuff like that. And recently, the big one, the big kid, the big boy, he's been just a tyrant lately, challenging me for my authority. And he set a trap for me in which called me out into the yard and placed a couple rakes in the yard, and I stepped on one, and it came up and smacked me right in the nose, right? And so I got frustrated. I chased after him. He had even more rakes. I got 3 or 4 rakes right in the nose before I quit, and I got a cut in my ankle from one of the rake points. I got cut right in my ankle. It was a deep cut, kept bleeding. Had to get Carol driving. I had to wake up Carol, and she works nights, and she wasn't happy about that. And she had to drive me to urgent care, and I got that sucker all filled up. Well, they gave me a bunch of antibiotics, right? And I'm taking the antibiotics so I don't die from the poison or whatever in the rake. I'm not sure how they work. And so I get it mixed up one day, and I think, I want to blame the big one for this. He's really been going after me lately. I can't even talk to the boy no more.
About 23 now?
He's built like he's 23. He's still in high school. I really don't know how old he is at this point. I just know he's solid as a rock, and he really doesn't respect me no more. But so I get the urgent care, and I think he switched the medicines I had because I took this expired dog heartworm medicine, right? And so I start getting holy moly, and I feel, and the next thing I know, I'm sitting on my carpet, right? And the Bears game is on, and I'm sitting Indian style, and I kind of flash in and out of the football game, and all of a sudden, I astral projected, and I didn't know this at the time, never heard of that. I astral projected to a city in the kingdom of Akartha, right? And I'm surrounded by all these cool orcs and all these cool elves, and they're staring each other down, and I feel like forces of good and evil and magic and supremacy rolling all around me. I'm like, oh boy, I don't know what old Reed Gimble's gotten into this time. And so I see it all, right? And I see this orc, barrel-chested, big boy, 12 sets of abs on that sucker, looking right at me, wearing no shirts, nice blue jeans, and he says, your time will come, Reed Gimble. You're a good man. And don't let that big one get to you, because remember, your inner power is greater than his obvious supremacy in physical strength. And when I came to, I was in the yard, and the big one was hosing me off, laughing his ass off, and I go, your time is going to come. I'm going to Shangri-La. And, ever since then, I have renounced Christianity. I have brought my concerns to Gary the Blade Shanice, and I have left his church. And now, while I am targeted by various cartels that are out to kill me, I do believe that my newfound faith in Buddhism is here to stay, and that my ultimate goal in this life is to make it to the center of Earth, to gather the inner strength, to beat the big one, to really knock the tar out of that big boy. I really think he's got it coming, and the side of justice is on my side to beat up that big kid.
And I think, it really speaks to the veracity of our belief, because what you describe in your astral projection is not so far off what I've experienced and read in many resources in my finding of my belief, and that we came to these visions independently just means that they're true.
I mean,
I didn't have any vision. I just saw elf.
I mean, love is kind of a vision, really, and you fell in love with that drawing.
I just got so horny. I just
and who is
believed I could just go. I could meet this person.
Who is to say that the artist in San Jose, as you say, his house may be on a ley line, an ancient Lemurian ley line, and he was channeling energies.
Dr. Yins, I think you might be onto something. We speculate on all the things that are down there in the true world of Agartha. Reed's sitting here. He keeps going on about how excited he is to go and see the houses made out of chocolate and licorice.
I mean, you got candy canes and gingerbread and all them houses. There's no you can take a big old bite out of it if you want.
There's no Christmas village, Reed, and you need to stop calling yourself a Christmas Buddhist.
I don't think there's such a thing as Christmas, but you cannot deny the existence of candy canes.
Well,
Are candy canes
may not
real,
believe in the-
Curtis?
Candy
Are candy
canes,
canes real?
You may not believe in the Christian Christmas, but you keep calling yourself a Christmas Buddhist, and how you're going to meet Santa, and that at the North Pole is access to the
Christ.
Hollow
I
Earth.
believe that there was I believe in Christ. I'm a Buddhist. I believe the existence of Christ. I'll get more into the specifics of it later. But I want you, Curtis Hong, true or false? Are candy canes real?
I can see that candy canes are real.
Thank you. All right, can we please move along before there's another re-gimbal witch hunt?
I I don't believe there's such a thing as a Christmas.
Well, I
Buddhist.
saw what I saw, and I think there is a candy cane and gingerbread village you can take bites right out of in Shangri-La. And there ain't nothing wrong with that.
we
Shangri-La,
have-
Shambhala, whatever you want to call it.
Shangri-La is not the only area in Agartha, and Agartha is very vast, and there's many different races in Agartha. You know, there's orcs, as you said. There's elves, as I hope. I hope there's an elf girl. I just know that there's one waiting for me. And there's goblins, which Reed is very.
Ugh!
Reed.
Don't like
you
those guys.
Keep talking about them, and you're like afraid of them. You never even seen them.
Just makes my skin crawl thinking of those little nasty goblins. I mean, I just don't like goblins because I saw that
You
movie.
You don't have to see a natural occurrence to be afraid of it. We're all afraid of things like earthquakes or EMP bombs, but have we ever seen any?
He's right.
It's
You
true.
do not have to see it visually. I sometimes wake and I sense the auric presence of an EMP bomb, and it's sort of like purple lightning flashing across the sky momentarily. And I just have developed this yogic instinct to suppress my sense of fear, but I understand that if someone would be able to see these auras, they would understandably be frightened without actually. It's less like actually seeing them and more of a sensation with your own chakra field.
Well, Dr. Yins, I agree with you, and I also wanted to know, as I said, mentioning the many races, I mentioned a few, and I know in Agartha there are some Chinese there. No one knows how they got there, but there is a Chinatown, and I wanted to hear your opinion. You're the expert. What else exists? Is there any other?
Well, first of all, I think the existence of a Chinatown is fairly realistic, considering one of the entrances to Agartha is in the Gobi Desert.
Okay.
So it would not be, it would not be out of the realm of
So
possibility to have
it's possible that the
Chinatown
Chinese that we have here on the surface came from Agartha, and maybe not the other way around. But also, maybe the ones from here.
I would say that you cannot blanket say all of them came from it. But I saw this really cool documentary, right? And this guy is on a business trip, right? And he goes into this dusty shop. It's like a basement shop that you walk into, and it's real full of Chinese mystic stuff. And he buys he buys a Furby, right? And he gets this Furby and he takes it home.
Okay.
And he gives it to his son as a present. Now, when his son's playing with this Furby, his name is Gizmo, and he gets told not to feed it after midnight. And then he feeds it after midnight on accident, I think. And then it turns into a bunch of different shoots off a bunch of eggs, and there's a couple of them. But these guys ain't nice. These other Furbies seem bad. And then they touch the water, and they turn into like all types. One's a pretty lady, one's a businessman that is slamming on the phone. One of them, and this is something I think about when I get to Shangri-La. One of them, like I imagine myself as like getting a nice salad in a Shangri-La buffet, and I go to take a piece of lettuce, and then that big old goblin jumps out of there at me, and he's a salad goblin yelling at me, and there's a couple of those out there, and that documentary really kind of set me apart of how I thought these goblins work down there in the Hollow Earth.
I mean, that's not a documentary, but I guess I'm not going to change your mind on this.
One of them drove a bulldozer, and I don't like that at all.
Well, it's hard to tell. Of course, we haven't yet been to this promised Shambhala, or as we like to call it, the Forbidden Land, or the Land of Radiant Spirits. But who is to say that they have the same water here as they do there? And maybe these Furbies, as you call them, would have a different effect on them if they drank water after midnight in
It's a
Shambhala.
possibility. I don't claim to be no expert. I'm just saying what I watched from a documentary. But
It's outer and inner Earth have such different,
much different properties,
magical
right?
well, let's get
fields.
this because let's talk about the basic structure of the Earth, then, right? So
Okay.
So we know kind of a little bit what's on the inside and the cities and there all and the heaven promised to us inside of the earth, right? Let's talk about the nuts and bolts of it, the structure of it, right? So we are on the surface currently. We are outside of the earth. And we mentioned a little bit about the tunnels that can lead to the inside of the earth. All right? Dr. Jens, Maharishi Jens, is, as the principal man of science, the
Yes,
learned
thank you.
man here, I'd invite you to explain, as we walk through them tunnels, what are we walking through?
Well, it is several progressive layers. It's a fairly complex structure because, as it is, the Hollow Earth, as the Lemurians found it initially and colonized it, did not have a strong enough gravitational field to support life. So the Lemurians undertook a very grand terraforming process, bringing in vast amounts of materials such as basalt and plastic basalt from asteroids and such. So if you step into one of these tunnels, for example, the one underneath the 16th chapel in Italy, you would first walk across several kilometers of crust, which is just basically what you see. Ground,
Mostly
dirt,
rocks.
things of this
Mostly
nature.
rocks,
Mostly
right.
rocks. And as you get deeper in, it turns from mostly rocks to all the way rocks when you reach the inner, let's say, 50 or so kilometers of basalt. And this number depends on whether it's a mountain or whether it's the beach. In case of a beach, there's no basalt, it's just sand and seashells and stuff like that. But so it's a layer of basalt, and then as you go deeper in, you reach the sort of artificial gravitational core constructed by the Lemurians that would be strong enough to hold the entire Hollow Earth together. And this is made of a material we all know, plastic basalt. And there's about several hundred kilometers of plastic basalt, and if you're using one of these naturally occurring tunnels, it can take quite some time to descend. And
Are downward crystals involved in
people-
this process?
Downward crystals and upward crystals, as I believe, are as my studies, got in deeper, I have realized that upwards and downwards crystals are radioactive health particles of the true gravitational
Whoa.
crystals used in the forging of the
Okay.
core. So
Holy
yes,
moly.
there are crystals, but they are neither upward nor downward, and they are both at once, which is very poignant
Now-
metaphor and
It's
also
a
scientific.
lot to
Okay.
handle.
It
Well,
is.
with these tunnels, you mentioned one of them is under the Sistine Chapel in Italy.
It's the 16
And-
chapel.
The
Yes,
16
it's
chapel.
16, or sorry.
The 16 chapel
I
and
know there's some other. Breed, where
house.
was the other? You mentioned another one was.
I know there's
There's another-
one in Mount Sinai, at the base of Mount Sinai. I know there's one
there's-
at the Hollywood sign in beautiful Los Angeles, California, underneath that Hollywood
There's
sign.
one in the. There's one at the first McDonald's.
Right, the first
if I'm not
McDonald's.
mistaken.
I am theorizing
Which
that
is.
that's in Terre Haute, Indiana. Terre Haute.
So that's what you meant when you said Terre Haute is the key to accessing Hollow Earth.
Right, it's the key. I believe I'm theorizing that they are currently using prisoners to dig one at the Terre Haute Federal Supermax Prison. Either that or, Gary the Blade Shanice is trying to escape to kill me for renouncing Jesus Christ.
Well, regardless, we're going to be setting up a sort of headquarters in Terre Haute, in this sort of small tent city in a remote field. And, Reed seems more concerned about the amount of hot dogs we'll have.
But the thing is, you threw away that pizza. You ate 2 slices. There were 6 slices. You just threw them away. You could put them in your fridge. You could have done it. It's just wait. I know you're a rich guy now, but you don't just gotta waste food like that. Gee whiz.
No, I could do what I want with my food.
But it's.
I wasn't hungry.
You can just save it. You don't gotta eat it right then and there. You eat it cold.
Well, you don't have to go through you could have asked me for it. You don't have to go through my garbage like a raccoon.
Well, you don't have to spy on me.
One thing I will say, just sorry to interrupt, but it will be an interesting experiment to throw pizza away while in one of these tunnels, because about midway in, the gravitational vector sort of flips upside down. So I would imagine that the pizza would be kept floating in perfect harmony straight down the middle of the gravity.
Well,
just eat it while it's floating.
I imagine
That'd be cool.
walking down it too, and you basically kind of lift your hands up halfway through the thing, and you walk down the first half of it on your feet, and you walk down the other half of it on your hands, because it just flips right there, and you can just keep moving, not even break your stride.
Well, Dr. Yins, you mentioned these plastic layers in the Borge crystals and outward crystals, but you also mentioned that the inner earth and the outer earth have different properties concerning magic. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about arcane magic, which I hear is basically just math. Like there's a lot of geometry involved, and
It is based. Well, it's based on simple sort of particle physics. You know, when you consider the Earth and the hollow Earth, apart from these small tunnels, has quite large entrances in the North and South Pole, which are currently, melting away, and maybe the magic energy within is escaping. But what happens with these holes, receptacles in the poles, as the Earth spins, it creates a sort of vortex effect, gathering the arcane particles of magic from the universe, sort of sucking them in to the inside of a hollow Earth. And a really easy way to imagine this is if you picture the hollow Earth as a sort of bread bowl configuration.
All right.
And the arcane magics of the universe.
oh, now you got Reed's attention.
Hey, come on.
As a and if you imagine this arcane magics as a nice mushroom broth or like a carrot soup or something.
Could it be chili? Maybe you think like a
almost-
nice chili,
Could be
Here we go.
could be a
Yeah.
chili
Alright,
in the
thank
bread
you.
bowl.
a nice
And
five-alarm chili made by a fireman.
And much like a chili is designed to be stored inside a bread bowl, arcane magics are similarly designed to be attracted to hollow
That's
earth
pretty good.
shapes.
Makes sense to me.
And I believe this is why Lemurians colonized hollow earth, because they saw the sort of bread bowl potential
Now,
inside.
we discussed this a little bit. The Lemurians they came in first, and they colonized all the inner Earth and stuff like that. What happened to the Lemurians?
They first colonized the outer earth with some scientific outposts in the inner earth.
Can I ask y'all what has happened to the Lemurians?
Well, nuclear
Oh,
war,
that makes
obviously.
a lot of sense when you put it like that. Who did they have a nuclear war with?
We can. Please, Curtis. This is I don't want to monopolize
I'm sorry.
the hollow.
What was the question?
What? Who did the Lemurians have nuclear war with?
The Atlanteans, of course, of Atlantis.
Oh, now them
why
they're
places.
the underwater folks I heard about.
Mermaids, mermen, talking lobsters, sea witches. All of those existed.
Yeah, the one with like octopus.
Like an
Look.
octopus playing a set of
It was-
clams like a xylophone.
Oh, and
Perhaps.
you know
yes.
who is very, very interested in Atlantis and the ocean is famous director James Cameron is a well-known Hollow Earther, as you guys know. He believes that the Na'vi people from Avatar live within the Hollow
Oh,
Earth.
that's pretty good.
You know, he didn't just create those himself from his own mind. He wishes, but he has used his incredible multi-million-dollar submarines to seek ways to the deep depths of the ocean to access the Hollow Earth.
And the Hollywood tunnel to Shambhala that sucker's just basically all the magic fumes are coming up constantly, so it's very
It's in the
easy
center of
to-
the O. You just go in one of the O's and you climb in, and then you can stroll your own way down to Hollow Earth.
Yeah, and Cameron, in his moments of inspiration, maybe goes down to that sniffs some of the arcane magics flowing from the Hollow Earth, and he sees these Navi people. He sees these sort
Blue
of
cat people.
blue cat people, monkey elf kind of people, and he knows that they are one of the many races of
Well, we
Shambhala.
have contacted James Cameron, and he has agreed to bring us, all three of us, along on his next expedition, which I'm very excited about. I have to ask Reed that he needs to promise me that he will not bring his Titanic memorabilia. I know you're a big fan.
I mean, if
Titanic.
you don't like that movie, you ain't got no heart. If you there ain't a dry
No
high in
offense
the
to
house.
Mr. Cameron, but it's just not my cup of tea.
I'm just worried
you know,
about,
you-
if I can go or if Carol's going to make it a thing, because she if it wasn't for me, she'd just get eaten alive by these boys here. They're practically feral at this point. I got to lock the door when I do this. And,
She has to make sacrifices in the name of truth. But yeah, just don't embarrass me. Like we were at the
listen,
Hollow Earth Summit.
if you just keep your
and
drawings
Reed,
of elves to yourselves, no one wants to see them erotic drawings.
we were at the Hollow Earth Summit, and Reed insisted on wearing a costume because he thought it was some sort of convention. So we're walking around, and I'm wearing, my lanyard and everything. He's next to me. He's walking around as Fat Edward Scissorhands. And
I was regular Edward Scissorhands. I was regular. I'm not. It's not a different person just because I'm fat. I can be Edward Scissorhands
now because you can't dress up as now because you've shaved off all your body hair. You're completely bald, and you walk around wearing your quote monk robe.
Well, it was
even
a
though
lot of that. It's a bathrobe, but I just call it a monk.
You wear a bed sheet, and it's a stretchy kind, which makes no sense to me. You say it's a monk robe, but it's a stretchy bed sheet that goes over a twin-size mattress.
I don't know how
got
to
chili
fold it,
stains
so
on
it's
it.
just been sitting in the corner of my room. So I just slapped it on. It's fine.
It's covered in chili stains.
It's my
Anyway,
chili.
moving along.
It's
So I'm very excited to work
one
with
man's chili shirt
Dr.
is
James
another man's
Cameron.
robe.
And he's excited to meet both Dr. Yins and myself. And I guess we'll see what we find.
It'd be interesting. We could take a recorder and record episode 3 in one of the caves.
That's a great
in the
idea.
tunnel.
Or in that submarine when we're down there and he's looking for them caves.
We should.
Oh, might hear
We should take some soundproofing.
that cool radar beeping noise in the background for the whole episode. That'd
That'd
be
be
cool.
cool.
That'd be badass.
And a lot of my thoughts in finding this Hollow Earth, right? Primarily are motivated by my desire to, destroy the big one, the large sun I have. But a lot of it also has to do with my recent spiritual journey in becoming a Buddhist. As most of you guys know, I think Buddha and Jesus essentially are the same person. Now, I've been reading up on this a little bit, and Buddha is just, I think it's Indian language for Chinese Jesus, right? And so he's Chinese Jesus was things, and it took me a while, and I still need like some silence in order to do it. Like just let me try to everybody just shut the fuck up. Everybody, please. All right. It takes me about 15 seconds to visualize a Chinese Jesus, but I close my eyes and I see this cherubic, smiling man in a triangle hat, and he's got the Jesus beard, and he's smiling, and he looks like Jesus, and I kind of blink a little bit, and he's just all this beautiful Chinese guy, right? And so that's how Buddha's there. And this is a passage from the Buddhist Bible, and Buddha said that he was the same thing as Jesus, and he was a Chinese Jesus, and he was overweight, and that's not a problem. And from Mount Sinai, there was a tunnel, and Chinese Jesus walked down them into the center of the earth, and he was greeted by an orc who beckoned him to take a load off as his dogs were barking. And that's from the book Uncle Rick in the Buddhist Bible.
Beautiful, poignant passages that led me also to this similar beliefs, not exactly the same beliefs, but very similar ones.
I mean, I don't necessarily believe in all this hooey-dooey crap. I mean, I'm just looking for my elf wife. I think my pursuit is a little bit more reasonable then reads here.
In the center
but,
of the earth, there are orcs, elves, and Chinatown. And everything gets along, and no men lie with other men. The inner world has been purged of shellfish and filled with genes. That's from the book Uncle Rick in the Buddhist Bible. That's from page 100.
And Navi and Furbies.
Right, the
also
Furbies are...
before
You feed
among
the Furbies water, and they become goblins. Right? And they go to buffets, and they wait in salad bowls.
Do you think there is a goblin infiltrating Chinatown?
I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Perhaps?
But since I also imagine that because that's the inside of the earth, we're on the outside of the earth, everything's backwards. So I think you go buy a goblin and maybe he becomes a Furby when you give it to your dad instead of your son.
Maybe.
Read those Gremlins. It's
Maybe
movie
so.
Gremlins.
First of all, I don't know what a gremlin is. I've never heard that word. So it's obviously not. It was a
You
goblin.
probably fell asleep one night watching
It was
MTV
goblins.
after eating too much chili.
There's no such thing as
And-
too much chili, and I've been trying to get in contact with
Looking
my more
at you, I'll
spiritual
disagree,
side and
but-
my chakras and all that stuff. And what I've been doing is I've been taking that dog heart medicine over and over and over, trying to recapture that way and tell me how to get to the Chinatown in Shangri-La. And, it hasn't worked so far. Mostly it's just kind of really fucking up my legs. And I keep forgetting to take antibiotics. And it's really hard I can't really put much weight on my left foot. And I can just tell that the big one's plotting. He's sitting there. He's eyeing my head at the dinner table. And he's looking to take me out. And I've been looking around. The whole house is surrounded by rakes. And he's just waiting for me.
Anyway, another part of Agartha. We talked about Lemuria and Atlantis and the history there. We talked a little bit about Agartha. And we've mentioned Shambhala a little bit. Dr. Yins, would you like to describe what Shambhala is to a Hollow Earther?
Well, Shambhala is a sort of twin cities situation, but there's a dual city between outer and inner Earth. On the inner Earth is Shambhala, and on the outer it is called Shangri-La, which is a name you have no doubt heard of before, and it's sort of basically I describe it as the customs checkpoint of inner Earth, as is back before the nuclear war and back when there's peace and prosperity on both sides of the Earth. It was sort of the main gateway in between the two worlds, and as basically is sort of border town, sort of Tijuana of the
Keep out the riffraff.
inside.
Some have claimed that Michael Jordan came from Shambhala to our world.
I do believe that. I have seen a conspiracy YouTube video that says Michael Jordan shaves down his ears so people can't tell he's an elf. But how else would you be able to jump that far? And why do he always have his tongue out? No other human does that. Might be an elf or an orc thing even.
Maybe even Navi with some sort of advanced.
I'm seeing a few connections here.
Cloaking technology.
Michael Jordan played through his famous flu game, and so he had some sort of sickness. And James Cameron is a well-known Hollow Earther, and he came up with Terminator when he had the flu. So, it can't just be a coincidence.
I don't think so.
It might be some kind of magic sickness from
It is the okay. Follow me here now. Since the inside of the Earth is the opposite of the outside of the Earth, maybe when they get sick, that's a good thing.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. I think
Okay,
on the
I
inside
followed
of the
you.
Earth,
I don't know where he's
Not
going.
the magic on the inside of the Earth is good when you get sick.
He goes into these little.
It's good
theories
when you
and
get
shit, not to
sick
back it up
because it's going to be opposite there because we're going to have a plague and then everyone there is going to be good, right? And then it's from, the book Uncle Rick says that as well. And there will be a great reckoning on the outside of the Earth, and Chinese Jesus will remove antibiotics and Benadryl from our world, and all will perish.
And if
It's a
you
book,
look at
Uncle
the
Rick.
Sahara Desert, and the Gobi Desert and places like that, you can see that maybe not so far away from the truth.
In the time before time, there was an orc and an angel, and we know these angels now as elves. And he said to Chinese Jesus, "You are the Buddha, and I have created you, and that's okay because that's fine."
Very inspirational words from the sutras
The
of the
Buddhist Bible and the many sutras, and I thank the Maharishi here for having an open enough mind and not being afraid to embrace the magic and the surreal reality of the earth that Curtis Hong sits and hides from in his fortress of a home in a gated neighborhood where, he gets mad.
I just
if
like to
people-
remain,
You weren't using
I
the
don't
pizza,
trust everything
so
I'm told.
it's fine if I took it because you weren't going to eat
You
it, so
went
I don't
into-
know why you're mad. I don't
You
know
went
why
into a
you lock
massive-
your garbage cans. Who locks their garbage cans?
Because people like you and possums and raccoons and other vermin get into it.
I got
You went
past
into
it. I got past the locks, but just took like 20 minutes, man. I knew that pizza was
You
there.
got stuck in a Chuck E. Cheese play place tube for 2 days at a child's birthday party and emerged
No one could hear
a
me
Buddhist.
screaming. They had to get the jaws of life out there to get me out.
There,
We don't have to air our
as they say,
personal
there
grievances
no-
every show, Curtis. I'm a nice guy. Everybody thinks I'm a nice guy.
Curtis, I really believe that by securing yourself with 270 cameras and metal detectors and mounted machine guns around the perimeter of your suburban home, you may, as you know, the saying, "No atheists in foxholes," really in these dangerous life moments of eating chili with tapeworm medicine inside it and such like that, you really, when you're truly fear for your life, when you're out there at 3 a.m. watching Alan Watts chill step mixes on YouTube, these are the moments in which the spiritual foundation, the true reality of nature unfolds before you. And these are the moments in which you might find the faith that creates a sort of more positive and less skeptical view of the world.
I just think that, a lot of these religions are sort of a pyramid scheme or something like that. I don't trust them. I think they're created by, possibly reptilian archons or, them. Greed knows who I'm talking
Lizard
about.
men.
It could be them just... Well, who's above... Who controls the lizard men?
The Jews.
Well, there you have it. So...
You got the lizard men.
I
you got
think
the
that these
reptilians.
forces are just preventing me from, finding my elf wife and kissing her and, just being happy and, going to the movies and
going to that
driving
famous
out
Shangri-La
country
buffet and getting a
old
salad bowl and
Camaro.
being
and-
scared when you're reaching that salad bowl and knowing that just maybe a Furby goblin's going to jump out at you and start laughing at you and get salad everywhere, and the manager asks you to clean it up. The manager's an orc probably or something like that, and he's not wearing a shirt, and he's got like 12 abs and that triangle dick muscle.
I mentioned James Cameron as a very famous Hollow Earther, and
Another famous
I
Hollow
believe-
Earther, Richard Gere.
the reason why we converted to Hollowism is because of one man. You
Oh,
two know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about. My good personal friend. Why don't we all say it on the count of 3? 1,
All right.
Okay.
2, 3. Sam Elliott. Sam Elliott.
Elliott.
Oh, and you know what? I'm just so
The great...
so
classic
pleased. He
Professor
was on our
Sam
last
Elliott.
show, and honestly, that is just a what
What
a
a sport. That was one of my...
Oh God!
Starstruck
You didn't even say a
hearing
word. You were
this.
so happy to see Sam Elliott.
I was just sitting back, hands clutched to my face, trying not to make a squeak and let the sultry tone.
Yeah, you know, we were so
else.
set in our ways of believing in the flat Earth that none of us thought we'd ever change our minds because Sam Elliott was
hold on,
staunch believer.
hold on a second.
And then once,
hold on, you guys ain't gonna believe this.
no way.
Guess who's calling me right now? I'm putting him on the line. Sam, you're on with Curtis and Dr. Yins. Please say hi, Sam.
Howdy, guys. You know what? I'm just in here on my Hollywood mansion in the style of a cowboy ranch with a big windmill and the pumped water well and my pet brambleweed here. And I was just sitting here sipping on my sarsaparilla, reminiscing after a hard day's work of recording DVD commentary for the DVD release of Marmaduke 2. And I figured, shucks, it's been 2 months. It's been 2 months since I called my boys, my Earth believer boys, and I decided, you know what? Time to round those boys up and sit around the fire of my iPhone here and reminisce. How we
Sam,
doing?
it's so great to hear your voice. Sam, it's so goddamn great to hear your voice. I'm pleased as punch you called. It's just crazy how you always just seem to call randomly whenever we're doing podcasts.
Well, you know, as I like to say, there's a certain magic to this world and timing that leads us to meet on these crossroads in our lives.
You're down there in Hollywood, Sam. You ever go through that Hollywood tunnel down to Shambhala?
Oh, shucks, Reed. What kind of question is that?
So you've been to the center of the earth, correct, Sam? I remember that TMZ controversy where they said, "Oh, Sam Elliott must be drunk. He's riding his horse into the middle of the O of the Hollywood side. Where's he going?" And you rode off your horse down to Shangri-La.
Sure as the cow eats hay, Reed. I took my sucker of a horse and I said, Betty, before I sell you off the old blue factory, I'm gonna show you the beauty of Shangri-La. I told Betty, listen, those elves down in Shangri-La, those elves, they got a special elf sugar cubes for you, old girl. I'm gonna treat you to one of those special elf sugar cubes before we make our last goodbyes on this beautiful sphere bowl we call Hollow Earth.
Well, Sam, it's Curtis here. I just wanted to thank you for speaking with a few tumbleweeds like us, and
shucks, my pleasure, boys.
Yeah, we don't want to keep you here all day, but it's always a pleasure to hear from you.
Of course, likewise.
Sam, it's been a pleasure.
Shucks, it's been a 100-fold pleasure for me, boys. You keep up the good work with your Paragon
and I'm
podcast.
sure those fellas down there in Shambhala were sure happy when you pulled out your 6 empty bottles of sarsaparilla and your 6 shooter and you knocked them all down in one hit. And all the elves love it when old Sam Elliott comes shooting those sarsaparilla bottles.
If you know one thing, if you know 2 things about elves, number 1, they treat their horses right. Number 2, they love shows of marksmanship.
Sam, I'm sure you got lots of things to do. Good luck on Marmaduke 3, and I know that's gonna be great. I saw that in the papers.
Oh yeah, that's buzzing along like a bee in a honeypot.
Goodbye, Sam.
Bye, Sam.
Farewell, travelers.
Dr. Yins, you did it again. You're too scared.
Miles has been on the job for the past few minutes.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm
it's-
sorry. You guys know what big Sam head I am.
I know you're a big fan of Sam Elliott, and you know every movement needs a face, and the
such a
Hollow Earth
Sam
really
head.
owes a lot to Sam Elliott, who's been to Shambhala and hung out with the elves, and knows all about that, and he knows. Whenever he goes, you know, he knows exactly where to park his horse in Shambhala so he doesn't get fined by the elf government or whatever. He's just a real knowledgeable guy down there.
He's like one of those frontiersmen that just have this innate sense of how the laws of nature and local governments and stuff, and
You know, I remember that
Well, now
people said
he's-
there's the West. There ain't no West no more. And you know what? Not to Sam, there is no frontier Sam can't yonder and stroll onto and put a big old a big old stalk of wheat in his mouth and tip his hat down to catch a few winks before the herd goes running off them cliffs.
Sam is now deep within his process of searching for a very famous weapon in Agartha within the Hollow Earth. He's begun searching for the famous Chekhov's gun.
Yes, he has been. They said only a true marksman like Sam Elliott.
It's one of the
Can
three
read.
legendary
Right.
legendary formed weapons of the
The
world.
three legendary forms of weapons in the world, if any one warrior could hold them at once, it says that the hollow earth would blossom outwards and become the whole earth. And so the whole earth would just be, you know, a big old Rubik's Cube you got to figure out or something. I don't know how it works. But the three weapons, of course, you've named Chekhov's gun, which only a true marksman can wield.
What are the other two?
You got Occam's razor, which is a blade of supreme logic, and then you got Excalibur, which was
This is a cool sword.
it's a cool sword.
This is cool.
Excalibur, you know, humanity has there's myths all around the earth of this sword, Excalibur. Every single ancient civilization has their own Excalibur legend.
You know,
Japanese went on
That's
about
probably the
Excalibur
most-
all the time. They thought it was a katana, which it isn't, because it's not. It's a inferior weapon.
I
But
believe it's a
Claymore.
It is a
Right.
claymore. Yes, it is a claymore. Is wielded particularly for strength. You have Chekhov's gun, which is marksmanship, and then you got
it's
Occam's
just
razor.
a golden six shooter.
Sort of an agility
Right, and then you
sort
got
of like a weapon of dexterity.
Occam's
sort of.
razor, which was forged by an elf nerd to win arguments, and that's more for magic class.
And that is
right. That would be the
intelligence,
magic
kind of.
class. And these three weapons, that's what they call the Holy Trinity, right? And then if you merge them together, what you got yourself is you got the Holy Ghost.
And then you form the very famous ancient mech suit, which is to save all of the races in the final battle. So whoever wears that mech suit will save the Hollow Earth and save the surface.
As we all know, the name of a mech suit, just mentioning it for people who might not know about it, the name of a mech suit is the Trinity Force.
And it's just cool.
And as soon as that comes
just
up,
When it
cool
comes
name.
down to the Hollow Earth, we look for all this stuff because it's just cool.
right, because
It's
you gotta
badass.
find it, you gotta get the Trinity's, you gotta get the Trinity Force, or else,
It's like,
you know,
why do I
Sephiroth is
want
gonna
to
take over
upgrade-
the Hollow Earth.
Oh.
You get Sephiroth takes the Hollow Earth.
I wish you wouldn't say his. I wish you wouldn't.
Speak
I
not.
wish you would not
blasted
talk about
devil's
him.
name
The
on this podcast.
Sephiroth is the biggest villain of all time, and my biggest son has a poster of him in his room, and I try to tear it down, and he drags me away from it every time. And I said, I'm gonna get that poster. You ain't gonna have that sacrilege here. I'm gonna get you a nice poster of Chinese Jesus. All right, I think that
Well, is
about wraps this episode. I think that about wraps this episode up.
We have a lot more to talk about. Maybe we'll be back soon. I hope. I know we got a lot of work to do.
Right. I mean, we gotta really.
You know, let the episode be listened to. Let people
Right.
hear.
I don't want to give it all away now.
Right. I mean, we
because
gotta keep.
still have a lot to
We
learn.
gotta keep these fellers coming
And
back.
I really want to say really quick. If anyone has any information about an elf girl, just anyone at all, please contact me at ballingbeyondbelief@gmail.com. or hit me up on the the Hollow Earth IRC by the same handle, Balling Beyond Belief. I'll pay you if need be. I have money. I got nothing else to do with it but find an elf girl. So they're so hot and they're cool. It'd just be cool to have an elf girlfriend. And I think about it a lot. And I look at pictures and like my background on my phone is an elf girl. She's got a bow and
You
arrow.
watch a lot of Twitch TV.
She's got a cool. Well, just leave me alone.
I wasn't trying to be mean there. I was just saying they got girls that pretended.
You believe in Chinese Jesus, Reed?
I believe in what?
You believe in Chinese Jesus?
Yeah, Chinese Jesus is Buddha. It's easy. Knock that out of the park.
Oh, well, at least Dr. Yins doesn't judge me.
Curtis, you're my best friend. I'd never do that.
Okay.
Well, I guess Carol's my best friend. I gotta say that, right? In case Carol's listening. Carol, you're my best friend. You're the love of my life.
I don't
care about the gout. I don't care about
think
nothing. You're still as pretty as the day I met you, right there in that prison visitation room. And I was visiting you, and I was writing you letters, and it was great.
Dr. Yins, did you want to say anything else before we end this episode?
I'm just not really to our viewers, but Reed, if you could shoot Sam an iMessage or something and tell him I'm a big fan, I would love to get a signed DVD of Marmaduke 2. I would just be head over heels about that. So that's
all
my
right,
farewell
everyone.
message.
It's been a pleasure. We will see you next week, hopefully, on Paragons of Truth, Unmasking the Facade. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
The following podcast is another podcast we did. It's called episode 2. I love you. I love you.
Mystical
Mwah.
greetings. My name is Julius St. Arpeo, and welcome to Take Me to Your Dealer. I'm a 9th level mystic of the Rosicrucian Order here at the Church of Doug's Van, and as always in this podcast, I am joined today by a Mr. Kyle Witchwood and a Mr. Josiah Paterno. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hello.
How's it going, boys?
It's going pretty good.
Kyle, I am in particular interest of talking to you and wondering what you've been up to since our brief hiatus from this podcast. We are, of course, here in Joshua Tree, California, and you have had the pleasure of joining us for the first time today. So thank you for coming, and please tell me
thank you.
what you've been up to.
Thank you, Kyle, for coming out here. It's good to see you, man. It's been a while since I saw you.
It's so good to see you guys. It's great to be back out here. It's a little weird being back here in California. I've actually been out of the country for an extended period of time recently. I've had a bit of a revelation in my life, and I've given up the Silicon Valley lifestyle that I once previously enjoyed for a higher calling that I now have devoted myself fully to. However, you mentioned that there was an important event taking place out here in Joshua Tree, California, and I felt compelled, as you are my brothers, to come back here and join you in whatever this unknown event is.
Well,
I don't know what you're planning, but I'm looking forward to it. I trust you because you are dear to me. You're wonderful, and you boys are on the same spiritual wavelength as I am.
well, I'd like to thank you for coming, and the holy event that we are planning, we will discuss much later in the podcast.
We won't delve into that right now,
We will
yeah.
discuss much pleasure, but I am happy to show that you were interested. Josiah, hi, how have you been? It's been a while, my dear friend.
Namaste. I'm bowing to both of you, my friends. I have been very good. I've been very well. I've been learning about...
I'm bowing back.
We're all bowing
You can
right
just
now.
bow. You don't have
thank
to say you're bowing.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm just letting them know they can't
Okay.
see us. So just thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Josiah.
Okay, you can stop. You can stop bowing.
You're really good at
killing
bowing
it right now.
You can stop.
Josiah, I'd like
can
to
stop
ask
bowing.
you specifically about this great substance you've brought with us. Can you please tell the listeners what you brought for us?
Oh, yes. This is a very, very special thing that I've been planning to share with both of you since the last time we met and we made the podcast. I've been meaning to bring it to you earlier, but I've been a little bit caught up. I think we've all been a little bit busy,
Right.
Needless to say.
Of course.
Doing very important things. But I brought this. This is a mud mask for our entire bodies, which is from the Dead Sea. I had it sent to me from Israel.
Oh my, this is simply wonderful.
Yes, it was
the Holy Land.
It was shipped to me. It was shipped to me from the IDF, and it was only, something like $5,000. It was a steal.
Amazing.
I had to do it, And as people can't see us, but our entire bodies are covered. We are all in here. We're all in our cloths, just our loin cloths. We're covered and caked in this black mud.
Right.
And it's to cleanse you and to, just release and
I will
clean
say,
all of these toxins that our bodies absorb from, just civilization and the cities,
soaking
and our travels.
and stewing in this Jew mud, I find myself amazed by the energies emitting from it. There's a powerful feeling of just, orcish savagery, and I feel like, one of Tolkien's Uruk-hai emerging from the Jew mud to be almost a Jew and normal person hybrid myself. The spiritual attunement I feel is beyond
Kyle, how
anything.
does this make you feel? Sorry, Julius. You want to let Kyle speak?
Please.
Is it my turn to talk?
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt the flow of conversation.
Just let him do it.
Okay.
Just go ahead. Fire off.
Let me preface this by saying I fucking hate toxins. Toxins are that you can miss me with that shit.
There's so much around us and so much in us, in our food, and our water, and the air,
In women.
and our energy.
Cell phones beaming
Oh my
toxins
God,
into
yeah.
your leg
Oh my
all
God.
the time because it's in your pocket. It just shoots toxins
Well, I'm
right
staring
into
at-
you, right through your epidermis, into your flesh of your
I'm
leg.
staring at
and
my
there's just
phone
toxins running through
probably
your arteries.
18 hours a day. I'm looking at my phone because it's important. You have got Instagram, you have Twitter, you have Tinder, you have Grindr, you have Bumble, you have all this stuff, Facebook, all this stuff, Tumblr that you have to keep up on. We have to keep up on this stuff, and it's shooting all this radiation. You fall asleep with it, and that's just like pure radiation injected into your sternum, which is probably the base of your entire body. It's like right above your heart, so that's probably not the best place for that to be, but it is.
It fucks your chakras
Oh, yeah.
up. They're all out of alignment when that happens.
I woke up one day with my cell phone on my chest after I had fallen asleep for 2 minutes for like a little nap because I had been partying too hard, as we all do, and for 6 days I could not leave my bed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's no joke.
My God. Well, let me tell you, this Jew mud cleansing experience is so different than what I used to. When I used to cleanse myself in Silicon Valley, I would go because, of course, health is a big thing there in the SV. Yeah. You have to be of a healthy mind. You have to be of a healthy body. You have to be all around just very healthy.
You drank that water solely from your pond, right?
Absolutely. We talked about this, actually.
Yeah.
It's funny. I have once again disrupted the market, this time in water. I drank out of my saltwater fish tank and made myself very, very sick. And now I find out that there are Silicon Valley elites doing this all the time. But I didn't do that. I did that because I was under the influence of several drugs at the time. I usually, when I try to cleanse myself, rid the toxins from my body, I typically go. I see a man who is of the minority persuasion, and
thank
he
you.
wraps up.
That's amazing. Thank you for doing that.
It is amazing.
Thank you for doing that so much.
It's about giving back. It's about giving back.
Thank you for talking to people like that because not people are afraid of those people.
I'm not afraid of them. I embrace them. I like to give back to the community of people that I don't fully understand or like.
We all Right.
You know, I go and a man of a certain ethnic persuasion of which I'm not sure.
Congratulations.
He wraps up thank you again. He wraps a frozen eggplant in a towel and he just beats the toxins out of me. I lay down and he just absolutely goes to town on me. He just whacks the fuck out of me on my ass, on my the area right there between my asshole and my testicles.
Your taint.
That is a concentration point of toxins. It's sort of like how dogs have anal glands that have to be expressed once in a while. Well, I have to express my toxin glands, and those are located right there in just the thick of it. And you know, I pay this man.
There's also one right directly between right above the bridge of your nose, between the eyes. So when they take the eggplant or that gourd or that squash, whatever that they use, they can use any of those depending on the season or the day of the week. It varies, but when they whack you there, you can feel those toxins being released as you black out and you see stars.
Well, yes, the area between the eyes is the sun toxin zone, and the area between my nutsack and my asshole is the moon toxin zone. And depending on the lunar cycle, I have each one expressed so that I may rid the toxins from my body and resume a healthy, productive life that I currently experience.
How long have you been doing? How long have you been seeing this, like doctor or shaman, medicine man, whatever you call him?
About 6 months now.
Okay.
And in the last month or so, I've stopped becoming sexually aroused during the process, and it's made the whole thing a lot easier. I always felt bad, you know. Even though I'm totally okay with homosexuality. I mean, I'm a California guy. We love gay people out here, but I don't like to
what's that? I just see people. People are just people. I don't know what you're talking about.
I would say that the only time in my life that I ever felt completely purified of toxins is this journey I took down to South America. And I went down to the Amazon in Brazil, and we were going through the tropical jungle, and my guide, Arturo, he took me to this small village where it was called, I believe, the Village of Ben. And it was all these 4-foot-tall type pygmy men, and they threw me in a large pot, and he said, this will cure your toxins. And they started chopping carrots in the pot and putting a big fire under the pot.
They had, as I recall, you spoke of that they drank sort of like they drank only certain flavored waters.
What they did,
they would eat only. They wouldn't make bread. They would only eat maybe meat.
Vegetables. They were all primarily dealt in the hose industry or the meat industry. And when I was in the pot, they would spray it with this tiny substance, and I was like, wow, it's amazing. They get that from the forest floor. And he said, no, it's just Mio. Orange tangerine water enhancer. So it's all carrots and water enhancer, and they're all cooking me in this big pot. But, you know, before they could completely finish the ceremony, as the littlest Ben was walking up to grab my neck, a big-ass bulldozer came in and knocked over the whole village and deforested everything in 30 seconds.
Oh,
and they were,
my God. That's horrible.
But right before then, you know, I felt like that was the purest moment I've ever felt of these people. These tiny people had true connection to the land, and, you know, I never could get there again.
And I heard they've now been extinct because the bulldozers just running over them and steamrollers just crushing
and
their
little bodies. And it tangled all their hoses.
And popping their skulls like cantaloupes.
This reminds me of the tale of Fern Gully, except instead of a beautiful rainforest getting cleared, it's a village of weird little perverted tiny men getting sent.
Who worship a sort of cat baby.
Were they
deity.
was that tribe solely male?
I did not see a single female at it. It was an all-male tiny tribe.
Interesting. I wonder how they reproduced.
I think they reproduced with this kind of cat baby creature, but I'm not sure.
I believe I actually have been living in South America, and I'm aware of their sort of tribal traditions. And there is a cat baby creature, and there's a cat baby creature involved. There is a ceremonial passing around of the picture of the girl from Churches involved, in order to sexually stimulate all of the male/females of the little baby tribe. It's a very complicated ritual.
How does it work? How does the cat baby work?
how do they like worship this cat baby? And I don't understand it. They somehow reproduce and spawn, and we still have no inclination about how it works. Like, I'm no scientist, man, but I know that's some trippy shit. And there's some, like, I know down there, like Peru, they have like ayahuasca and like all kinds of crazy shit. Like, you die to be prepared to be a warrior. But I don't think I would be able to fuck with those little Ben tribes, because I think those guys are on some next level shit, to be honest.
The legend goes
Like-
that that cat baby was a gift bestowed upon them by a giant benefactor. It was sent to them, a gift.
8 feet tall that he was said to be.
They claim that he was 8 feet tall, and that he was a sexually expressive and open and very intrusive
sex positive
god, a very sex positive god who bestowed this weird kind of
the god of
disturbing
protection
cat
and the god of
baby.
self-care.
He protected them, and he also wanted to fuck them, but he never got the opportunity. So instead of copulating with them, he provided them this beautiful cat baby figurine in order for them to continue their reproduction rituals without having to introduce such an inconvenience as like true biological females into their tribe.
It's amazing
you
they were
guys
able.
told me about how that god, they said in their language, his name is not pronounceable to us. Like, we cannot physically say or know what his name is, but what it roughly translates to in English or most languages is just the initials C and J, which is very particular to me. I wonder what they stand for.
There's no way of knowing.
No way of knowing.
There's no way we can know, because it's like I said, it's like otherworldly shit. It's like not third world shit. It's like fourth world shit. It's kind of like alien-esque. Like, these guys, for all we know, these guys could be practicing some magic down there, or some kind of voodoo hoodoo shit, and they can be maybe the machine elves that you see when you're like tripping on D&D,
yeah,
like,
definitely.
transcending. Like, they're kind of shifting. They're small. They're wise. They're roaming around places like Cleveland, and they're telling you that the Browns are going to win a Super Bowl. It's like, what does that mean? How can they know this? They're from South America.
Osweiler jerseys is something they worship. Yeah, Ben's a little man from Cleveland, and I want to have sex with him. Kyle, earlier
What?
you were referencing a kind of, exodus you had from Silicon Valley. Would you like to tell us what you've been up to?
I would. I no longer live in Silicon Valley. I have eschewed.
What?
Yes.
You gave that house is beautiful.
It's
beautiful.
It's true. I gave
Man,
it up.
like, I don't like that.
I gave up my beautiful crate and barrel sofa. I gave up all 25 of my robotic vacuums that roam around the house constantly.
You gave up the Teslas?
I
Don't
gave
tell me
up
you gave up
all
the
of my
Teslas,
beautiful angelfish and my saltwater aquarium. Both of my Teslas.
Please tell. Oh my God,
They've
man.
been
You could've
given away.
given me one,
They've
dude.
been given to poor people in Sacramento.
Oh, that
They're-
rocks. That
yeah,
rocks.
I gave them away, and I had a bit of a revelation recently, and I would like to share it with you guys, if that's okay.
Yes,
Please,
yeah,
please.
we would love to hear about that. Well,
Okay.
were you? I mean, were you? What were you? Were you tripping, Doc?
I was actually. This was my last time.
Oh yeah, you do this. Is what we're waiting for, man.
Yeah.
That's why-
I tried something new, and it changed my life forever. And I will tell you.
Hell yeah, let's
what
hear about
happened. On December 12th of 2017, I decided to smoke 2 hits of Bufo toad venom in order to unlock dormant parts of my creative consciousness so that I might invent the world's first robotic vacuum that will attack guests if it hears them using gendered insults near it. For this trip, I was under the influence of the following: Bufo toad venom, 2 hits; marijuana, 2 hits; Adderall, 40 milligrams; bulletproof coffee, 3 cups; ibuprofen, 200 milligrams. At 11:31 p.m., I sprinkled 2 hits worth of the venom over a bowl of freshly packed marijuana. I took 1 small hit and, after not feeling much, I decided to take a second galactic hit.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I exhaled my second hit, I laid down on my beautiful leather sofa. Before my head hit the sofa, I felt a complete disconnect from my physical body. Kyle, you've really done it this time. You're in for the long haul now, buddy, I said to myself. Though I'm not sure if I actually said that out loud. Suddenly, my vision went black as I was teleported between our universe and a new universe that the venom had unlocked within my mind. I was in outer space, or some kind of multi-dimensional space. This space was almost completely black except for one pinhole of white light located directly ahead on the horizon. Without hearing actual words, I could feel an entity trying to contact me. Before I could answer, the pinhole of light rapidly diffused into hundreds of beams of multicolored lights arranged into a horizontal plane, sort of resembling the cover of that Pink Floyd album that's less bad if you listen to it while you're stoned. The beam slowly bent and contorted to form multiple Buddhas and Shivas, which were rotating 360 degrees and were completely silent. I understood them as the symbols of wisdom and peace. A yin-yang symbol emerged from the white light in contrast to the blackness of the space around me. It was a symbol of the tension between me and my black neighbor, with whom I was recently involved in a dispute. For what seemed like an eternity, I wordlessly communicated with these icons through a series of high-frequency pings and energy transfers. I experienced opposite emotions simultaneously, causing them to feel like new emotions no human being had ever felt before. I felt the warm energy of a Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich. I felt the raw, unmitigated power of a 1999 GMC Sonoma. I felt the humble, yet powerful strength of a forklift. I briefly became aware of my body again as I could hear Tiesto's Suburban Train gently thumping in the background. In that brief moment, I was able to use my voice to ask, "Why am I here? What do you want to show me?" The Buddhas and the Shivas stopped spinning and melted back into the beams of light. The racial circle disappeared. All beams of light returned to the pinhole of white light, and a booming voice replied, "Do not use your old voice here. Use your true voice," in a language that was both familiar and alien to me. As if a camera were quickly being pulled back, the blackness of space I was in retreated, and I realized I was staring into the pupil of a giant organism. It swirled up high above before landing several hundred feet in front of me. The being appeared to be a golden dragon, the size of multiple galaxies, its scales radiating millions of colors of electric energy.
Wow.
It took what felt like minutes to look all the way up its body before finally arriving at its head. I was amazed to discover it did not have the head of a normal dragon, but rather the head of Jesse Farrar. "Jesse, is that you?" I asked the dragon. "No, I am assuming a familiar form so that way we may communicate with ease," the dragon replied. "But you're wearing basketball shorts," I said. "Basketball shorts offer far more comfort and mobility than jeans provide, and personally I think I should be allowed them to wear them at my wife's family gatherings without it being a big deal, but whatever. Anyway, no more questions about me or my shorts," said the dragon. "Do you know why you are here?" Because I smoked dried venom from a Sonoran toad," I answered. "And why did you smoke the venom?" he replied. "Because I wanted to unlock my creative potential." "Your creative potential," the dragon chuckled. "That's not why you're here at all. You're here because you seek a purpose. What is your purpose?" I thought for a moment. "To develop the next great app or consumer electronic and rise to the level of esteem reserved for brilliant scientists, because I discovered a new way for people to remotely call each other the N-word." "Wrong," the dragon boomed. "Your purpose does not lie in Silicon Valley. You have no higher calling in developing apps and gadgets. You have no business taking drugs to enhance your creativity. None of this is what you are meant for. Continuing to pursue this path would be as unnatural as putting whipped cream on a hot dog. You must leave California. You were meant to leave America. You were meant to move to Honduras or Argentina or some Mexican country like that," Farrar Dragon said. You were meant to have one of those sassy Latino wives that can't understand or speak any English at all. You were meant to disappear from the public eye entirely, except for videos that will periodically surface of you and your wife fighting. In those videos, you will slam cabinet doors and gesticulate in an angry fashion, similar to how Johnny Depp does when he's mad, except you will not look like a rich old woman when you do it. You were meant to live in a weird gray compound in the middle of the jungle and eat mangoes and toucans or whatever the fuck it is those people eat over there. You were meant to befriend a wild pygmy boy named Ben. You were meant to capture and tame him. You were meant to teach him pleasure and then teach him pain. You were meant to introduce him to raw denim. You were meant to show him pictures of Wendy's hamburgers. You were meant to turn him into a little piggy and pull his curly tail. You were meant to take him to market. You were meant to wear a boot with no sock on in the middle of summer and then make him live in the boot. This is what you must do. Go now and do what must be done. In a flash, I was returned to the living room and I bolted upright in a cold sweat. In the background played Tiesto's Suburban Train, the same song that played in my mystical experience I had a literal lifetime ago. I knew then and there that my life as a Silicon Valley professional was over. It was time to begin my new life in the jungles of Guatemala. End of trip report.
It's amazing that, my experience with the Pygmy tribe of Ben compares so well to your experience.
Completely coincides with it. Yeah,
it's like we're
Pygmy
spiritually
boy.
aligned.
It's like
You're
the whole universe is pulling.
Kyle
this
had no idea they
ignorant populace
existed,
towards
and he had this
truth.
vision. Right.
And you know what? He was right. I found the pygmy boy named Ben. I'm slowly earning his trust. I've been leaving little crumbs, little gluten-free crumbs, in a trail to my house. His pussy stomach can't handle the tortillas of our nation, so I have to venture out into the jungle and find him edible leaves, so that he may wrap the toucan meat, toucans being the chicken of the jungle, in the edible leaves and eat them. I'm slowly winning him over. I'm bringing him into.
You could maybe give him some monkey meat.
I had thought about monkey meat. However, he has a problem with me killing the monkeys because they look too much like him.
Right.
He doesn't like that. They're about the same size and they resemble him too much for him to be okay with me doing that.
Right. Have you found yourself a Latina wife?
I have found myself a Latina wife.
Congratulations.
Latino wife. Thank you.
How's she look?
Latinx.
She looks wonderful. I believe her name is Puto because that's generally what she says around me. She's beautiful. I can't understand a word she says. Latinos. I've left this part out about the Ferrari Dragon trip. But at one point he said to me, when you do get your Latino wife, you can put a thunder jacket on them to calm them down because they're known for being very excitable. It doesn't work. She doesn't like it. It's like putting a collar on a feral cat. But we're working on it. We're getting better about it. I put it on her in her sleep, and I take it off before she wakes up. So I feel like I'm kind of subconsciously conditioning her to accept this new way of life that involves me and my weird gray compound, and just sort of trying to win over a disgusting-looking little perverted pygmy boy, and also watching cryptocurrency trends, because that's kind of where the bulk of my Silicon Valley fortune is now residing. I think 2018 is going to be a big year for cryptocurrency.
Aren't you in the process? You're in the process of trying to get the paperwork done to adopt him, right?
Well, Guatemala has kind of an interesting system where
it's like to adopt him or marry him, like either or.
No, it's more of a kind of a thing where you, if the boy allows you to spit into his mouth, then he becomes your son, type of thing. And so he will not let me get within spitting distance of him. He tends to keep about 10 feet from me at all times. But I'm hoping within 2018 will be the year that I adopt little Benito, and he will be welcomed into our household, and I will teach him all of that I learned in Silicon Valley. I will make him my prodigy, and I will return him to my motherland, America, specifically the worst part of California that you could possibly go to ever in your life, and I will send him there to what am I trying to say? He will catalyze a new golden era in Silicon Valley.
Wow.
And it will continue to flourish.
I am profoundly jealous
Julius
of you.
and I.
It seems like you're living
Julius
your
and
truth.
Well,
I
was living my truth, and I like I said, I haven't been taking drugs at the advice of the basketball short wearing dragon. I don't do drugs anymore, but I heeded your guys' call because you told me that there was a very important religious ceremony.
We wanted to bring you here for something very important.
And this connection that I have with Julius, where we've talked about the pygmy tribes, and I'm trying to befriend a pygmy boy, only proves that we are all spiritually connected with one another. So I know I'm right in my decision, and I want to hear more about what is
Kyle,
it? What is this?
No, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that while you brought you here. But like Julius and I, we talked to you online, as you know. We wanted to give you this for Benito. It's all right. For those who can't see it, this is a jersey onesie of the Cleveland Browns for an infant, and it should fit him perfectly.
Oh my god!
We want to give this to you. This should be like
is that velour?
It's a velour.
Yes, it should set in stone his decision to come back with you. You know he loves the Cleveland Browns, even though he hates them as well, but he believes in them. We thought this might help. So
it is. You can see the back of it. It is
Thank
a
you.
Johnny Manziel onesie. I think he's gonna love it. So really hope.
If
that
I can make another prediction,
yeah.
if I can make another prediction on, as well as cryptocurrency having a big year this year, I think Johnny Manziel is going to have a very, very big year in 2018.
Well, I think Johnny Manziel just needs to get like porn or something because he kind of looks like James Dean. He could probably pull it off.
I think he could.
I
think Johnny Manziel. He just he needs to get out of he needs some spiritual enlightenment so that he can finally learn that maybe football is not what he's meant for.
Yeah, he needs to talk to you, dude. He needs to go to like the church.
Well,
You know what I'm talking about. We drove it out here. We drove out the church of Doug's
We're
van.
here at Joshua's tree. We're here hanging out. We met up with, Kyle and things
We're
like that.
in Julius's wigwam that he built out here at Joshua Tree. We drove the church of Doug's van out here to it. It's a very special gathering. We're very happy to be here.
There's been a lot going on
We're drinking
in the
this.
church.
Oh, what do you call this? We're drinking this. What do you call it? It's like this spiritual slime that he made. He was given the recipe by Doug. What do you call this stuff?
It is
like
a kind of
jelly that
it
you
is
drink.
kind of like bizarre mixture that Doug felt that he came up with in the middle of the night. This was after, he's had kind of a tremendous period of enlightening where it was a lot of LSD and things like this and mixed in very crude kind of grinder containers and things like that. What you are drinking now is a gelatinized version of Four Loko mixed with just straight up green tea. Doug got it in his head for a while.
It's delicious.
Doug thought
This is a good sludge.
Doug thought green tea was like a mind-bending hallucinogen, and he keeps trying to tell us that we just don't see it, we don't taste it, but I'm pretty sure it's just straight up green tea. So, there's a little bit of animal fat in there. If you're vegan, I'm sorry, but mixed with like certain things like that, it's just a normal drink.
Well, the thing is, it's not animal fat that we harvested ourselves, like animal fat that just existed out there in the world. So we're just using it, and we're very grateful to the animals for giving us their power. We're better than us. So it's not anything like that. Like vegans, you rock. Vegans are even better. Like, we were freaking for a while. We were all in the dumpsters. We're pulling out Little Caesars boxes and
eating the cardboard,
slamming. Yeah,
big respect to the animals.
We're eating Taco Bell bags. We're eating like McDonald's. We're eating the cheese from the burgers, like the McDoubles stuck to the packaging, so stuff like that. It's like that's how we lived for a long time. Like 3 years, we all lived like that. So friggins, you guys rock, but we couldn't do it because, we started to make more money, so we spent our money on like, good stuff. So it was like,
I mean, it's kind of, in all honesty, it's kind of gross too.
It's like pretty fucking gross. We had like dysentery for like 3 weeks.
I didn't know.
I
like had
you guys remember that
bowel
dive
movements 4 times a day, and sooner or later you just kind of meh.
I couldn't jack off like pretty much the entire time I was on a vegan diet. I would just get tired halfway
Dude, for
through.
me it was the opposite. Like I wanted to fuck everybody. Like I wanted to fuck you guys.
God, I'm so jealous. Like I was like depleted all the time. Like my restless leg syndrome completely like just depleted me of electrolytes. So like I had nothing.
Oh, you had that going on. It was like you were like, you were like there's times we were like all sleeping under a burlap sack, and you would just like start twitching and like shoving me. And I'm a light sleeper. And I would wake up like several times a night just to jack off. And
yeah, we know.
You would just like nudge me. And sometimes I'd already be jacking off, so it didn't like bug me as much because I was like the vibrations, like I didn't notice it. But other times I was like already jacked off and I'm passed out, like that post jack off slumber, like you just fucking crash. It's like perfect. And you woke me up from it, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And it was like you're having a seizure.
Josiah, can I tell you something?
Josiah, you're jacking off right now.
Yeah.
I was awake for a lot of the times you were jacking off, and I specifically remember you syncing up.
Well, I told you guys that I was doing that at night. You guys
specifically remember you syncing up your jack off motions to my restless leg syndrome a few times. Like I remember that whole thing.
I don't
being
recall
kind of a beautiful
that. I was
perception
probably
of physical anxiety,
purely
and
circumstantial
sexual gratification,
No.
all kind of rolled into a beautiful cauldron.
No, I don't. I think
The
it's
room
just I had no.
stank after.
I kind of like my eyes rolled back in my head, and I would see like stars and flashes of beams. It's sort of like a stereograph kind of image in my face, kind of like a migraine, but in the opposite way, where it felt great because I was like jacking off. So if you guys, you guys didn't say anything really at the time, so I thought it was okay, and you were aware that
I
was
thought
doing
you
this
were
several
living
times
your
tonight
truth. Who am I to judge?
I was living my truth because my libido was so thrown off by, the man.
Right.
It's not my fault.
I understand.
And we were all working to get stuff. We were collecting cans and stuff like that. We were recycling. We'd all share that one bike. We'd share that one fixie with pegs on it.
Pegs on
We
both
actually put pegs
sides.
on the
I'd ride
fixie.
in the middle. You
And
guys would
we
be
would,
on the
all
front and the
three of
back.
us would ride on it in town. All three of us would ride on that fixie. One of us in the front with our fucking hips thrusted forward, kind of like
Those teenagers
on
throwing
the
rocks
front,
at us.
and then one of us in the back with hands on the shoulders, and one of us driving. We kind of switch and rotate, and we'd roll around town. We do like 15, 18 miles a day on that thing.
Yeah.
And it was just exhausted, but at night, like, you would have your restless leg syndrome. I couldn't rest because I needed to jack off. And Julius, you're just fucking out because I think you had more drugs that you were not telling us about.
I was working hard at that time.
Which you're being dishonest about, but we forgive you because we
I
love
was
you.
I
Well,
was
look, I mean,
paying
we
my
all
way through the Rosicrucian Order. I didn't have any scholarships.
We knew that. We knew you were studying. You're under a lot of stress.
We were all under a lot of stress, and I remember you guys used to mock me for always wearing a fanny pack, which is an important thing in Silicon Valley. Everybody in Silicon Valley wears fanny packs.
It is normal
And
there.
I
didn't believe it until I saw it.
It seems weird to most people. It seems gay. But I remember the first time we got
It
rocks
is
thrown
gay.
at us by teenagers, and I started carrying rocks in my fanny pack to throw back at them, and you guys were like, "This is brilliant." Now I go everywhere with a fanny pack full of rocks. I go swimming with a fanny pack full of rocks. It does weigh me down.
Not only do you do that, but in one of your pockets, in one of your pants pockets, you always have just a pocket full of sand to throw in someone's eyes in case they start a fight with you.
I do, and in the other pocket, I have a bunch of little pebbles. I take one with every meal. It helps my digestion, just like how birds eat like little stones. It sort of tumbles the food around in my belly and allows me to digest it easier. Oh, wait, I just got a text message from Puto. Oh, look at that! I just got a picture of Ben. Ben has been. She got Ben to come inside the house. He's in his litter box right now, and he's kicking around.
Oh my God!
He's
so
kicking.
cute.
He's so small. Look how big he is.
Wow.
He's kicking furiously. Look at him. He's got his head fully planted in the sand. He's wearing raw denim overalls, and he's just kicking litter everywhere. He's
What is he? He's got to be like a foot tall.
He's like some sort of weird perverted Sonic the Hedgehog, just kicking his
now I
legs
see
around.
why you've had such immense change in your life. You had this overcoming of will, and you're just.
I was touched by the Farrar Golden Dragon, and nothing in my life has been the same since.
It's amazing that you got Ben, that he's finally sleeping in that upside down garbage can with a little door on the front. It's amazing that he's finally sleeping in the little house you made for him.
Yeah, he actually is very talented. I used a metal trash can and flipped it upside down, and I wasn't really sure how to, make a door for him. But it turns out he has extensive welding experience because he has a little tiny, a Hot Wheels GMC Sonoma it was rusted out, and he had to actually weld new pieces of metal onto it and apply Bondo. And so he's created himself a little cat condo, but for tiny men that live in upside down trash cans. It's the ingenuity of the Guatemalan pygmy people is truly amazing.
That's truly amazing. Yeah.
Well, he is a blessing on you, as you can see, and for us, extensively, he's a blessing on us. And I
love him so much. I want to grow a vagina and put him in there and then birth him. That's how much I love him.
That's amazing. That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
I'm sorry. I don't want to get all emotional with you guys, but he's that special to me.
Josiah, a lot's been going on with us recently. I think it might be appropriate this time in the broadcast to say, Kyle, no offense to you, we know that you're on your own new journey, but we all take different paths in life.
I want to hear
Kyle,
about yours, brother.
What kind of new drugs, what kind of new mind-opening experiences have you been embarking on?
I got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on. You know, I've been busy. I've been probably, the half of the past year. All right, straight up. I lived in a 24-hour Planet Fitness for like 6 months. I would pay the $10 monthly fee, gather cans, whatever,
Rent.
sell drugs. It's easy to make $10 a month. No problem. We're professionals at this. And I'd get my water from the water fountain in the showers. When dudes are showering in there, I'd just like put a cup under them and collect that
You
water.
could have just showered yourself,
And,
I think, right?
Well, I would do that too. But,
Go ahead.
Okay, never mind. Anyway,
It's raw water. You're collecting raw water. I understand.
I would eat and steal extra pizza on pizza night and Monday night, and I'd take the bagels on Tuesday mornings. And I still have Jet's Pizza from a month ago that I'm still living on, so it's a pretty good deal. Especially when it's the winter, you can take a lot of that pizza and you put it outside and it stays cold. You can just eat that cold pizza that you got at Planet Fitness on Monday night from Jet's.
Mother Nature's the best refrigerator.
Just gotta make sure the dogs don't get it.
I've been doing all right, and I'm very happy to be with you guys here at the Wigwam, at the Joshua Tree, and I have been keeping up on things. I like my substances, as I call it, or my compounds, and I have a little bit here. I have the best list, best new drugs and or highs. First off, we have a big thing that's been going on lately is, it's very simple, actually very cheap, half-wise. The other half not so cheap, kind of expensive. So you take it's mixing Listerine with hot Yankee Candle wax, and it has to be Yankee Candle because of something that they put in it. I'm not sure the exact components. We're still looking at that. But you mix Listerine, hot Yankee Candle wax. You drink it. You puke once, and then it's reported that you get feelings of euphoria and intense racism. Now, they're reported to occur and lasting from 2 hours to 2 days. So, I did it. For me, it did last 2 days, and I was saying this and that. I was saying, rice farmers, blah, 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 Africans, blah, 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 Polish people's heads, the backs of them are too flat, stuff like that. And it was pretty wild. It was very, very intriguing. It was very different. It was nothing like I felt before. But that was very cool. It was very, like I said, it's cheap half-wise. Yankee Candle is not cheap. So you got to go to those stores, try to find them on the clearance racks. Seasonal stuff especially, they cut it even more than half. And you can pick this up for a pretty decent price. Second off, we got smoking insulation from within walls. Newer insulation, older insulation.
Asbestos or
construction.
Wait, I've heard of this. It's called cotton candy flipping.
Yeah. And asbestos is probably the most ideal way of doing it, but the other stuff will work too. And it's been reported that people have been doing this. I mean, this has actually been going on for probably 9, 10, maybe 11 years in the U.S., especially in the South. People have been heading up construction sites. You go to suburbans. You go to these giant subdivisions, and they'll be halted construction because of weather. That's primo times to go in there and pack up some good cotton candy. And there's been reports of general feelings of delirium. Yeah. General feelings of delirium and confusion, and it can cause severe nosebleeds and numbness of the tongue, making it difficult to speak. So people are talking, and they kind of maybe sound like they're from Spain. Instead of saying for instance, Ibiza, they say Ibiza. So stuff like that, but they're American speaking like this. And this is something that's, it's generally pretty safe. The nosebleeds don't really go beyond that. Put a napkin up there. You go to Taco Bell, McDonald's, shove a napkin up there, you're good. Numbness of the tongue lasts probably only about 12 hours.
I would say that you should probably not mix that with the Yankee Candle mix, simply because you will have a condition known in a lot of drug-using communities known as compound racism, where your racism becomes so unspecified you can't even direct it in a direction. You're just basically racist at the whole universe, which truly doesn't really make a lot of fundamental sense.
It's kind of like that old. It's like what people are like. In my opinion, very ignorant. They say, "I'm not racist. I hate everybody." It's kind of like that,
but they mean it.
But they're very racist towards everybody, and they absolutely unleash
to the
that.
point where you can't specify what race anyone is, but you are still racist. So you might say, to a Hispanic man, "You stupid Polak, you eat onions for lunch." It's just
you dip it in mustard.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, also it's kind of this doing the cotton candy flipping. It's a bit of a renewable resource in a way, because you do the cotton candy to candle transition, where you go and you get spun off the cotton candy, and then you rip the copper piping out of the walls, and then you take that copper piping, you sell it, and then you go and you get your Yankee Candle mixture, and you do it, and so you can just kind of keep doing this like indefinitely. It's like the perfect,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's like a self-sustaining economy.
It's kind of like a mixed bag where a lot of people do this and then that, and then it's like
it's like printing your own money.
Well. Yeah, but
American money,
dangerous.
not this
you gotta be
shitty
careful
Guatemalan
about it.
money that doesn't mean anything.
I will say this: out of a lot of things I've been trying now,
I have.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
please.
go ahead. No, I have a few more, but you can go ahead.
I will say that there's only really 2 new things that I've experimented with, particularly because since I am in this stuffy traditional organization of the Rosicrucian Order, I almost envy you a little bit, the freewheeling kind of rogue mystic. But I will say that one of the things I've been trying is something that's right under everyone's noses, and that is just nickels. So many nickels are handled by different people's hands, the chemical compositions within nickels, the bacteria that resides on nickels. What you can do is I've been searching for something that will be a long-term, near permanent high, I like to call them. And what you do is if you just eat these nickels, you're introducing so many different types of bacteria, so many different types of chemicals that have been exposed to these nickels, mixing with the actual nickel and different metal symbols within it, and you will actually have this kind of long-term, sickly, sleepy feeling that just comes from eating bag after bag of nickels.
Oh my God!
So this is something that
is that why when you move, it sounds like there's like clinking.
And when you use the bathroom,
from,
it sounds like you're at the casino and you just hit a paycheck on slots. And it's so renewable, you can even go back there and kind of get that, and then because you can rinse them off and things like that, and it's fine. And it just adds to the chemical composition that you are having. You are going to be sleepy. You're going to feel a little sick, similar to opiates, but at the same time, you feel this residual kind of weighing downness, right? It's almost the opposite of LSD in that instead of lifting you up, it pushes you back down, which helps you to understand just how good LSD is.
That's incredible. And this is inspiring to me because
I'm kind of confused though. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's inspiring to me because you can find the most extraordinary things in the smallest places. You can find them in nickels. You can find them in the tiny pygmy boy named Ben, and how he can strip an entire mango of his skin with his little tiny teeth in a matter of 8 seconds. And this is a continuation of that. This is the American answer to the Guatemalan pygmy inspiration that I feel.
What about pennies and dimes and quarters?
Quarters I typically find. I typically need those quarters.
Too big?
To either pay for parking for Doug's van or some other purpose. I found that I get the best value out of nickels.
Pretty good.
Because they're just as handily well. Now, quarters, I don't know if there's any kind of different chemical composition within them, but I'd be willing to experiment with that if I had a fairly substantial donation of even $10.
All right, well, moving along, there's just a couple more new drugs and/or highs I had here.
Please share.
Very big one, actually, that's been kind of surging along the East Coast and the West Coast. Kind of weird how the coast kind of both just assaulted this at the same time. Maybe social media spread word. And it surged in the Midwest and the Plains, all that didn't pick up on it. Anyway, the plastic ketchup holders from Wendy's are made from a plastic that is toxic when it is heated with a butane torch. So the gas, if inhaled from heating these plastic ketchup holders from Wendy's, can give one delusions of falling through the floor. And has been caused it's been known to cause severe damage to the nervous system, as well as multiple sclerosis.
That's wicked.
Some users have said their hair has turned a greenish color and thinned, which has given them the appearance of Beetlejuice. So a lot of people have been calling these ketchup holders, somebody's Beetlejuice, as a drug. So it's probably not good to do, but I'm not the kind of guy who tells people don't do it, and I'm usually the guy who says do it, like go for it, like balls to the wall, like fucking go for it. But this one sounds kind of fucking freaky because people are walking around with like thinned Beetlejuice hair, and it's like, I don't know, it's just not my kind of thing.
I don't know. I mean, I don't see the problem. Somebody's like, hey, you want to start Beetlejuicing? What's the problem? Hey, you want to look like Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight and just have disgusting, greasy green hair and eventually kill yourself because of it?
Rest in peace.
I don't know. Try a new experience. Try a new experience is all I'm saying. I was closed off to those. I lived in my
That's
little...
part of the risk. Part of the risk of doing drugs.
Exactly.
We all know that, yeah.
I lived in my little Silicon Valley bubble, and I had to be broken out of that. And now my life is so much more enriched because of it. So try smoking a ketchup packet. What's the problem?
I will say one of the new things I've been trying has also kind of been a trendy thing. They'll mention it in kind of hip hop songs, particularly in like Chicago and stuff like that, of doing the Farrar. And, I'm in my car, bitch is the star, girl, I'm going Farrar. It'll be in a lot of stuff like that. And what happens is what you do is you take a pair of regular gym shorts and you soak them in ether. What'll happen is that ether will be absorbed through your pee hole. And the absorption, once it starts, kind of has like the gasoline hole effect, where you siphon gasoline, it'll start flowing. Once your pee hole sucks up a little bit of ether, the rest of the ether will follow, and it'll start effect that'll drain the whole gym shorts of ether. So this is one of I was talking about the same thing with the nipples, or with the nickels. It is a slow, methodical kind of high, where it's something that you can soak those gym shorts and then go out at night. You can put a pair of jeans over them, and by the morning those gym shorts will be dry because your pee hole is absorbing all those nutrients, all those ether, and you're experiencing that same ether high, except without the blackouts, without all that nonsense, and just the general light euphoria that is experienced with that. And considering, the Church of Doug's van has been in a lot of kind of turmoil and upheaval lately, which I'll get into later, that has been a nice mellow level high where I'm still able to do slight administrative duties while still getting completely fucked up all throughout the day.
I actually heard of doing the Farrar, and this actually ties into hip hop culture. I've been studying hip hop culture more because I decided, I'm going to break out of my bubble. I'm going to move somewhere else. So I'm going to break out of my, cultural bubble too, and learn a little bit more about rap. And there actually is something where it's called you Farrar the whip. So essentially you get out of your car while it's still in drive and you lay down on the ground and you do something that's called the reverse snow angel, where you lay on your face on the pavement and whip your arms and legs around really fast. And then you get up while your Honda Odyssey is spiraling out of control. It's racing away, and you run up and you grab your 32-ounce icy out of the cup holder before it rolls down a hill and crashes. And this is like a popular hip hop thing now. So it's funny you mentioned that because I'm actually a little bit clued into that. Like Farraring is like a big thing that's like taking root in like the the African American community. The urban community. I don't want to say black. There may or may not be a court order where I can't say black anymore because of a dispute with my neighbor, but...
Are you saying that Black Lives Don't Matter?
I'm actually legally forbidden from answering that, but all I'm saying is I'm paying attention to the black community, and you Farrar the whip. While you're Farrar, you get up there, you reach in, you grab that icy and you sip on it while your Honda Odyssey just like goes into the swamp, and like everybody else is just laying on the ground doing reverse snow angels on the pavement around you. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. It's taking the community by storm, and Julius, I think it's so cool that you're on the ground floor of that, and you're taking part in this
taking
truly.
Ferrari.
Yeah, you're Peggy Farrar in it. You're doing your
I'm doing my shit.
You're doing your shit. Yeah.
I have another one, last one. This one's kind of weird, but I think probably the coolest of the latest trends. Some people have started a new trend known as overclocking, which is apparently you're using electrodes attached to the body, and the other end is attached to your graphics card. Okay. And overclocking the GPU on a computer to cause an intense feeling of traveling very quickly while remaining in place. So, side effects have included increased libido, alertness, dexterity, and critical thinking, which has heavily affected the gaming community. Users have claimed that they were able to visualize their own neurons firing and could anticipate the thoughts of opponents in any competitive setting, including the notorious quotations game move. So, users have also reported chronic insomnia and also severe dehydration. Now, I haven't tried this myself. I don't anticipate that I will. I don't have a computer. I'm not a gamer. But someone that's in the tech world or was, like you, Kyle, you might be interested in that. I don't know. But it's definitely kind of weird because it's like we're kind of like sort of like linking up with computers. We're sort of synchronizing in a way that is not just practical, but it's transcending a level above that where it's almost like recreational as well. So it's like, is the singularity approaching way faster than we anticipated, or is it not? I don't know.
I have one question, Kyle, before you answer his. Just can you please explain to us in graphic detail, what is the game move?
The game move. The game move, I believe, is, and I'm not certain about this, I believe the game move is when you go to a fast food establishment, you go through the drive-thru, you try to tip the female drive-thru attendant, even though she's legally forbidden from taking tips. You insist over and over again. She says, no, I can't do that. I'm not taking tips. So then you try to give her a gift certificate to Baby Gap because that's where you primarily shop. And then after she again spurns your tip advances, she gives you your food. You take the buns off of your sandwich of choice at Wendy's and you huck them into the back seat of your 1999 GMC Sonoma Rust Bucket shit heap, and you drive home while recording a video of you talking about becoming an active shooter at the Republican National Convention, even though and during the video you put on the left turn signal when you meant to put on the right turn signal.
That's insanely specific.
That's the game move.
I don't know. It sounds like pretty general to me.
Also, I had an idea for offsetting the dehydration for hooking for overclocking.
Right, overclock is not going to go away. Like, this is something that's definitely not going to go away. This is here.
Yeah,
and now we're in the baby steps.